The Trump indictment, there's a 49-page indictment was just released, and it has some really interesting things. It says that he kept boxes containing papers about, and this is a quote from the indictment, defense and weapon capabilities of both the United States and foreign countries. Now, if you don't think that Russia or Saudi Arabia would pay billions for that, and maybe did, well, let me read the whole thing, actually. He kept boxes containing papers about defense and weapons capabilities of both the United States and foreign countries, United States nuclear programs, potential vulnerabilities of the United States and its allies to nuclear attack, and plans for possible retaliation in response to a foreign attack. This is breathtaking stuff. Remember all the foreign spies? There was a Chinese spy, that woman that was sucking up to Donald Trump and following him around for several days there at Mar-a-Lago. And then there was several Russian spies as well, who always attractive women, because Donald Trump just loves to have them around him. The indictment goes on to say Trump, quote, caused scores of boxes, many of which contain classified documents, to be transported to the Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach, Florida, where he maintained his residence. Nothing that he had was, he was not authorized to possess or retain those classified documents. He stored his boxes containing classified documents in various locations at the Mar-a-Lago club, including in a ballroom, a bathroom, a shower, his office space, his bedroom, and a storage room. I don't see how it gets worse than this. I mean, you know, his valet apparently helped him in all this, and he has been indicted now as well as part of this conspiracy. The indictment quotes from a text exchange between two unnamed Trump employees, quote, there is still a little room in the shower where his other stuff is. I mean, they were talking about where to stash his stuff. Walt Nauta, the valet who has also been arrested, or indicted, quote, moved 64 boxes from the storage room and brought them to Trump's residence. It's starting to get redundant here. But Joe Biden was asked about this. He said, I have no comment. Yeah. This looks like really serious, dangerous, deadly to the United States stuff that Donald Trump was leaving out in the open, where spies from China, Russia, and I believe he sold them to Saudi Arabia. I can't figure out any other reason why they would give Jared Kushner $2 billion and give Donald Trump hundreds of millions of dollars, which is what it appears he's gotten for the sponsoring the Live Golf tournaments. So there's that. A couple of other stories I wanted to share with you. We have a geeky science. Never forget, this is a great piece by Haricot Blue over on Daily Kos. Never forget, they knew in 1959, Edward Teller, the father of the atomic bomb, wrote, and this was a symposium of petroleum industry executives that he was speaking to. He said, when you burn conventional fuel, you create carbon dioxide. Its presence in the atmosphere causes a greenhouse effect. If the world keeps using fossil fuels, the ice caps will begin to melt, raising sea level. All the coastal cities will be covered. 1949, 80 years ago. They knew in 1968 when a report commissioned by the American Petroleum Institute concluded, quote, significant temperature changes are almost certain to occur by the year 2000. And these could bring about climactic changes. There seems to be no doubt that the potential damage to our environment could be severe. Pollutants, which we generally ignore because they have little local effects, CO2 and submicron particles, may be the cause of serious worldwide environmental changes. And the article just goes on and on and on, quoting from study after study after study. You can find that over at dailykos.com. And then finally, this is from Aaron Reed's brilliant Substack newsletter. If you are a member of Substack, well, you don't even have to be, actually. Aaron, E-R-I-N, aaroninthemorning.com is the website for this. And a judge in Florida has blocked Ron DeSantis's horrible anti-trans legislation. And I just have to share with you a couple of quotes. His name is Judge Hinkle. A couple of the quotes here. The defendants say, in effect, that the organizations were dominated by individuals who pursued good politics, not good medicine. In other words, the argument that DeSantis is making is that doctors who are providing care to people undergoing transition are doing it for political purposes rather than medical purposes. And the judge just calls them out and says, that's a lie. He goes on to say, this is the judge, there has long been and still is substantial bigotry directed at transgender individuals. This is from the court ruling. A Florida legislator's remarkable reference to transgender witnesses as a committee hearing as mutants and demons is one of his examples. He said that is, as noted above, the elephant in the room. The Republicans also, in pushing for this law, said that a lot of people who make a transition, a gender transition, regret it afterwards. And that almost never happens. The judge, in fact, called that out. He said, regret is rare. Indeed, the defendants have offered no evidence of any Florida resident who regrets being treated with GnRH antagonists or cross-sex hormones. None. They couldn't find a single person in Florida who regretted going through a transition. He blew up their parental rights argument. He said parents should have if they want to support their child in going through a transition, they should be able to do so. In other words, the nanny state is Ron DeSantis. And I think most importantly, he said gender identity is real and is separate from sex. I just have to read this to you because it's just so brilliant. He said, with extraordinarily rare exceptions not at issue here, every person is born with external sex characteristics, male or female, and chromosomes that match. As the person goes through life, the person also has a gender identity, a deeply felt internal sense of being male or female. For more than 99% of people, the external sex characteristics match the person's gender identity. For less than 1%, the natal sex and gender identity are opposites. A male's gender identity is female, or vice versa. The elephant in the room should be noted at the outset. Gender identity is real. The record makes this clear. The medical defendants, speaking through their attorneys, have admitted it. Bam. I mean, this is solid stuff. So, it is Anything Goes weekend. I will pick up your calls on the other side of the break here. Stay with us. Helping you win the water cooler wars. Thom Hartmann here with you. I'll be back on the other side of this break.